Welcome to the Street Report Connection with Tommy. This video is on your SmackDown spoilers as well as your main event show. And as always, some WWE news. Starting off with the featured match of the main event was Cody Rhodes, Goldust, Los Matadors, and El Torito versus Curtis Axel, Ryback, Drew McIntyre, Heath Slater, and Jinder Mahal in a 10-man tag match. And that was the start of the show, and it just went downhill from there. Well, WWE began editing out chair shots to the head on old footage that was on YouTube last year. And they are also taking down a lot more YouTube content, which is now expected with the WWE Network launch. There's potential legal issues brewing between MMA veteran Frank Shamrock and WWE's Shamrock trademark an insignia for t-shirts that look very similar to the insignia that WWE uses on Sheamus' t-shirts. Indie wrestlers Roderick Strong, Kevin Steen are confirmed for the next WWE NXT tryout camp at the Performance Center from March 24th until March 26th. Michael Elton is also trying to get in on the camp, but not confirmed yet if he will be there. Noted last year that Ric Flair would be appearing at Revolution Pro Wrestling events in the UK on March 14th and March 15th of this year. Now confirmed that he has signed a new deal with WWE. Flair will not be attending the Revolution shows, citing personal reasons. Well, Sting has been announced as Flair's replacement for both shows. It's very interesting that Flair would cancel the bookings and Sting would accept just 2 weeks before WrestleMania 30. That could be a sign that Sting may have not actually signed with WWE yet. As far as I know, it's still just a Legends deal. Second part of JR's interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin is now available on the Ross Report podcast. And Steve Austin's latest interview is with the legend William Regal. Chris Jericho's latest guest was WWE diva Natalya. And the latest 30 years of WrestleMania podcast features Cody Rhodes and Goldust. You can find all of these interviews at podcast1.com. Honky Tonk Man's Shake, Rattle, and Roll podcast with co-host Steve Wilton returned tonight at 5 p.m. Central Time. The advertised topics of conversation included the WWE Hall of Fame, WrestleMania 30, the WWE Network launch, and TNA Wrestling. Of course, it's honky, so you never know where things might go. Check it out at honkytonkman.net. WWE Diva, NXT Diva Bayley has a new video blog. I'll post the website link. Of course, it's always on WWE.com. And the full link there. Former WWE star Shelton Benjamin tweeted the following yesterday about WWE not paying tribute to Nelson Big Daddy V Frazier on Raw. But they have did it on a SmackDown taping, as you'll see in the following results. And Shelton commented by saying, "I am extremely disappointed in the WWE for not acknowledging the passing of Nelson Frazier, aka Big Daddy V, aka Viscera, aka Mabel, brother, put in too much time and deserve at very least, and rest in peace package. I understand if there's something on SmackDown, but it should have been on Raw, the flagship show." And I did contact Shelton by Twitter about that they did do a tribute to him to give him an update. Triple H will hold his first ever Twitter question and answer on Thursday to hype NXT arrival on the network. Fans can send their questions to @Triple H between 3 p.m. Eastern Time and 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time using the hashtag @NXTArrival or the pound NXT Arrival. The wrestler Hernandez appeared on the Talk TNA podcast recently, and you can check out his interview conducted by David Gilbert at TalkTNApodcast.com. The dark main event for the SmackDown taping was listed as Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, and Big Show versus Bray Wyatt, Kane, and Alberto Del Rio. No results on the dark match. WWE is returning to Minneapolis, Minnesota at Target Center on June 9th for Raw. Tickets go on sale this coming Saturday. Ring of Honor valet Marie Kanelis is 32. She was born February 25th, 1982. The former WWE Diva is engaged to Ring of Honor wrestler Michael Bennett. Believe it or not, Maria finished 5th in the Diva search back in 2004. Former WWE and WCW wrestler Sean O'Haire, aka Sean Hare, turned 43 years old. He was born February 25th, 1971. Former WWE wrestler DJ Gabriel, real name Stephen Lewington, is 31 today. He was born February 25th, 1983. He was released from his contract in January 2010 and subsequently announced his retirement from pro wrestling. Legendary wrestler and promoter Verne Gagne turned 88. He was born February 26, 1926. Gagne was the longtime promoter for AWA territory and was also the promotion's top star during his in-ring days. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2006 with his son Greg serving as his presenter. Gagne suffered from Alzheimer's disease and does not make many public appearances. Flair was born on February 26, 1988. He died on March 29, 2013 due to an overdose. Ric Flair's youngest son was a trained pro wrestler who worked in the United States and Japan. The autopsy stated that he died from an accidental overdose of heroin and prescription drugs, clonazepam, and alprazolam at age 25. There were no pro wrestling shows listed for ESPN Classic, but on Thursday night there will be some shows. Global Supercard returns this Thursday. Actor and former WWE wrestler Tiny Zeus Lister, who wrestled as Zeus, had some fun with the TMZ cameras when he said he and Hulk Hogan have unfinished business. You can catch the footage at tmzsports.com. Lister starred as Hogan's opponent in the movie No Holds Barred. Also worked in WWE in 1989. He also showed up in WCW for a very short run in 1996. He pled guilty to conspiring to commit mortgage fraud in 2012. WWE issued a statement via the WWE Network Twitter page regarding the technical glitches that are still going on with the network's video on demand feature. We are currently experiencing technical difficulties with at WWE Networks on video on demand library affecting 20% of viewers. Working with MLBAM, we expect to have this issue fully resolved by 6 p.m. tonight. Well, according to Xbox 360 users, they're still having issues with the Xbox 360. That's obviously good news if you're among the 20% experiencing the issues. The fact that they felt comfortable providing a timeline is very encouraging. Well, like I said, Microsoft has acknowledged that there are still going problems with the WWE Network app on their platform. Are you having trouble using your WWE app on your Xbox 360 console? The company wrote in a post on their service page. We've got you covered. Xbox members, thanks for being patient while we work towards a fix. We'll provide an update for you as soon as possible. Thanks to .NET reader Rich Connor. There's no word as to what caused the issue. Of course, it's always the traffic issue. But at least if you've been trying repeatedly to make it work on your Xbox 360, you know it's not on your end. For what it's worth, we haven't received very many questions or complaints about WWE Network today. So either things are running smoother or people are being more patient. John Cena was not injured on Monday's Raw. According to PW Torch, He is expected to play up the storyline leading into WrestleMania 30. I get the idea of making Cena sympathetic and vulnerable heading into a match with Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. But I don't understand why they didn't take the traditional approach and try to put some heat on the Wyatt family in the process. The way it played out made it seem like something unscripted occurred, which didn't really put much heat on the Wyatt. That being said, Cena did a hell of a job selling the injury on Raw and certainly left a lot of people leaning toward him being legitimately injured when we all saw it. It happened during when the triple picked him up and tried to give him the power bomb or whatever move they were trying to do. Kind of looked like it was botched. Well, a WWE trainer stated on Raw backstage past broadcast that John Cena suffered a knee injury and was taken to a local hospital for treatment. However, the trainer stated that Cena was refusing to have an MRI. Meanwhile, a WWE website story states that while the nature of the injury was not determined following the WWE medical staff's evaluation, they felt some instability and swelling in his knee. Read more on the story at WWE.com. The trainer stated that Cena, I think I already did that. He did state that he felt his knees shift when he was in the ring with the Wyatt family. He was hoping it was simply a minor hyperextension and not something more serious. WWE star, formerly WWE star, CM Punk was scheduled to appear at the Louisville Comic Con on March 29th, but has been canceled by WWE. And Randy Orton is his new replacement, but refunds are also available via help at ticketleap.com. Thanks to .net reader Jesse McLaughlin for sending that in. WWE has acquired the U.S. distribution and worldwide remake rights to the French comedy Reines Du Ring, which means Queens of the Ring, the movie, which WWE partnered with Warner Brothers to make for France, is described as a mother attempting to reconnect with her estranged son, who is a passionate WWE fan. To grab her son's attention, she embarks on a rigorous training program to become a WWE diva and enlists her colleagues at a supermarket to join her journey to become the Queens of the Ring. And you can read more at this link at Variety.com. No word on who will star on the film until I got the later update. But you have to think several divas will be making some sort of appearance. I wish I spoke French guys. This concept does sound potentially funny in a full Monty sort of way. But here's the update on who did star in the film or previously. Les Reines Du Ring stars Mary Lou Berry, his name is Rose, Natalie Bay, Colette, Andre Dussault plays Richard, Audrey Fleurot plays Jessica, and features WWE superstar Mike the Miz Mizanin and Eve Torres. If y'all are not familiar with Eve Torres, she's supposed to be doing the new movie, The Marine 4. We are expected to acquire distribution and making rights to a wonderfully entertaining comedy like Queens of the Ring, said Michael Luisi, president of WWE Studios. This film gives WWE Studios the opportunity to introduce a feel-good story to a broad audience, while serving up a film we know our core fans will also enjoy. Well, WWE has apparently changed plans for the Authority, such as Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H. There has been no hint of Vince returning for WrestleMania 30, and Stephanie is no longer announced as one of the owners of the company. Well, I wonder why, because I know last year that she was selling all of her shares. So, there you go. There was talk for months of bringing Vince back to TV to begin the program against Triple H for control of the company, but it appears to have been mixed. Brandy Rhodes, NXT Diva Eden, has her latest video blog on WWE's website. The link that I'm going to be given. And will be doing her ring announcing for tomorrow's NXT Arrival event. And I didn't get the link there. I'll have to post it in the thing. Former WCW star El Dandy will have his retirement match on April 27th at the Arena Lopez Mateos in Tlalnepantla, Mexico for the Chilango Mask promotion. Dandy will face his biggest career rival, El Satanico. The two have done a few farewell tour singles matches against each other in the past few months. There is talk of releasing the entire collection of older Madison Square Garden live events on the WWE Network over the next few months. Regarding the new content being added to the network, there is a time-consuming process involved to get the footage ready for the viewing. Kharma makes her return to the wrestling ring for Booker T's March 8th Reality of Wrestling tapings in Houston. Bill Apter reports that Jake the Snake Roberts had about 5.5 hours of surgery earlier on Tuesday, but is very concerned because the doctors don't know what kind of cancer he has. He also has 2 more growths on his other leg, although not as large. The good news is doctors think they got the cancer in its early stages. There was a radio show in Green Bay area talking about how WWE kicked two fans out of Monday's Raw for holding up signs. One fan said he gave his Randy Savage for WWE Hall of Fame sign to the person sitting next to him and then felt bad that the person got kicked out with him. Other signs that reportedly were deemed a problem by security said Ronda Rousey can armbar John Cena and make him tap. And let's talk for more wrestling. The one fan also had a sign that said something about CM Punk being right in that UFC is better than WWE. There was some talk about doing a multiple divas match at WrestleMania 30. There's also maybe a multi-team match for the WWE Tag Team titles. Well, WGD Weekly with Kevin Sullivan. Yes, my prediction of the real Benoit family murders. Hosted by Steve and the Scum. Interview available at I'll get that link. I do have that one on YouTube. Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn jumping to WWF when he was named Booker of WCW back in January 2000. He quoted was by saying, "I think it might have been personal. It probably was personal. It made one of them. He made one of them world champion, and it takes a lot of balls to ask Sid Vicious to lose to a guy that is 5'6". Yeah, that must have been a while. But they felt like he was I was going to do something, or didn't feel very comfortable, or they got an offer from Vince. I really believe that it was either me or them, and the company stayed with me. If I was the guy running the company, I don't know if I would have done that. I think it was a personal problem, but I don't take any problems at work personally. Plus, I knew that they were the best talent that I had. Why would you shit where you eat? I can dislike somebody, but it's business. Put it aside when you put the world belt on one of them, and then the next week you're going to put the tag belt on them. Well, I think I gave the olive branch as much as I could. I think they had made their minds up. Plus, prior to me coming back, I think they had their minds poisoned by the other two, Russo and Ferreira. The controversial shoot angle with Brian Pillman in 1986 he comments about. One of the saddest moments for me was when I heard he passed away, because not only did he lose a great did we lose a great performer. We lost one of the greatest minds in the wrestling business. Brian came up to me one day. It was his idea, so we started having problems in the dressing room. He wouldn't do what I wanted. Guys started coming up to me and saying, kick the shit out of him for me. He is a real pain in the ass. Then 10 minutes later, I'd see the guy talking in the corner with filming. Brian and I would call each other later and we'd talk about it, laugh about it. Finally, it blew up. We were at Disney at the time, and Eric Bischoff had called a team meeting, and then Brian just went off the deep end. He started knocking Eric and me, so Eric told him to leave. So we were so far away from a wrestling interview that everyone thought it had to be real. Here's the funny thing. Pillman double-crossed everyone. He called me and told me what he was going to do afterwards, and I thought it was brilliant, and I was going to turn him in. When he went to ECW, he was getting paid by us. Because he was supposed to come back, we fired him, but he was still on payroll, and he was getting paid by Paul E. Then I heard this. The WWE was also paying him before he went up there, so he was getting 3 paychecks. He was a brilliant mind and a brilliant worker. His relationship with and his thoughts on Vince Russo and Ed Ferrero when they were hired and came into WCW as the head writers. Did I work with them? No. I just sat there and listened to them. I was smart enough to understand what they were trying to do. I went to J.J. Dillon and I said, do you know what they are laying out? A cartoon series. They are going to try to sell a television series based on wrestling. He said, you're right. Nobody could have been that stupid. And usually I'm more diplomatic than that. Did that stuff pertain to anything that had to do with wrestling? Burying Ric Flair in the desert? Well, that wasn't Freudian. Burying him and leaving him and the young guys taking over. I remember turning to Arn Anderson one day and saying, this isn't even a bad independent. You take Goldberg and make him a heel for no reason. Then you take an actor and make him world champion. Then Russo becomes world champion. And they knock Dusty out about his ego. Please. I just look at the era and say, wasn't anybody paying attention to the farm? Knowing almost 2 years ago, 2 years before the formation of the NWO, that he would plan to turn Hulk Hogan heel. Hogan came to me and he said, can you get us there? I said, I can take you to the promised land. Just give it to me. So the Dungeon of Doom was created to relax Hulk. I was going another way. I was going to hardcore. The NWO came along later. But I knew to get Hulk's trust, I had to feed him characters like the ones he was used to beating in New York. People ask, why did you do that? I did this on purpose so that Hulk could relax. In my head, I was turning him heel 2 years prior to when he did. I seen people starting booing him, say a prayer, take your vitamins, and then started cramming it down. Then it just started to get worse and worse. So the only thing I had to figure out is I have to get this guy's trust so I can switch some heel. But it's going to take a long time. In addition, Sullivan also talked with Steve and the Scum further on each of the topics above, and as well as the breaking into the business and differences between starting a career in wrestling today against when he first broke in, working as a good guy in WWF, and the influences Vince McMahon Sr. did have on him. His move to Florida Championship Wrestling and his heel turn, the psychology behind his classic evil character, working with Jim Cornette Promotions. Stories from the creative side of the business during the Jim Herd era in WCW. A classic rib. He helped Jack and Jerry Briscoe pull on a young Rick Martel. His recollections of Smoky Mountain Wrestling and Jim Cornette and running the promotion. Working both with and against Mick Foley and why Mick Foley left WCW. He transitioned into being the booker at WCW, being thrust back into the booking positions for after the initial Russo Ferrero 3-month run in WCW, the dying days of WCW, and whether he feels the company could have been salvaged, and thoughts of a new wrestling company could survive in today's world. His memories of many legendary performers, including Dick Murdoch, Andre the Giant, Dutch Mantel, who is Dirty Dutch Mantel, and as subculture in WWE right now, Terry Funk, Bruiser Brody, the original Sheik, Abdullah the Butcher, Mark Lewin, Paul Heyman, and others. The FCW cage match between Brody and Lex Luger, his thoughts on the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees rivalry, and so much more. Matthew Magnuson is at the WWE taping in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and was passing along the updates for the main event taping. And they're still selling CM Punk t-shirts. The SmackDown pre-show panel appeared to consist of Big Show, Booker T, and Alex Riley, with one of the broadcast team members serving as the host. Dark match prior to the tapings with Miz B defeating Fandango, and the Miz won with a figure 4. Main event taping. Cody Rhodes, Goldust, Los Matadors, and El Torito defeated Curtis Axel Ryback, Drew McIntyre, Heath Slater, and Jinder Mahal in a 10-man tag. El Torito performed lots of offense during the match and got the pinfall. And the ring was cleared out at one point, except for Heath Slater and Torito. So Heath Slater got the pinfall. Lost by Torito. Proceeded to a dance-off, which was awesome. Wasn't shown on TV. Torito got the pin and the win. Afterwards, Slater was asked how it felt in an interview. How it felt to be beaten by El Torito, which upset him. And that was about it. Match number 2 was Alicia Fox and Oksana defeating Natalya and Eva Marie. When Eva Marie still cannot wrestle and cannot sell anything, it's hard to take her seriously. Natalya got thrown into Eva. When I watched the show, it was not, because Eva was on the ring apron, and when Natalya was doing a move, she got thrown into Eva, which got the pinfall victory by Oksana. Bad News Bear came out talking about spring break. He said Americans are slobs with drunken times, jail times, loose morals, and pickled livers, whatever that is. He said it's sad and pathetic. This youth will run our country. He ended by saying America will be called United States of China. Match number 3, Darren Young defeated Titus O'Neil. Basic match, Darren Young won by countering Titus's finisher into a pinfall. Match number 4, your main event, was Ted Carr defeating Damien Sandow. Sandow had his new music. Hallelujah is his theme now. Carr won with a moonsault, and that concluded the main event. And the same reporter does the SmackDown, as it opened up with a memorial for Nelson Frazier Jr., a.k.a. wrestling name Mabel, Viscera, Big Daddy V, the Usos, and Daniel Bryan starts off the wrestling versus the New Age Outlaws, and Kane was hyped, plus AJ Lee versus Cameron rematch. Batista started out the show with mixed boos and cheers. Batista started off by saying, I love this business and company. He said he did not come back to be liked. A huge CM Punk chant broke out. He said you don't have to support him, but you got to deal with it. He said it's a fact that he can destroy anyone they put in front of him. A small Daniel Bryan chant started and yet died quickly. Batista then asked what the hell happened to this business. The real men, the attitude, a huge orgasm yes chant broke out. He said if the fans honestly think their heroes are as good as him, they need to get out of their fantasy world and to get out of his. He said he will destroy each of our heroes on his way to WrestleMania, where he will become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Then out came Dolph Ziggler, who challenged him to a match. A "Let's Go Ziggler" chant broke out. Ziggler started by saying, "You don't tell these people who to cheer for, and that they cheer for who they want." He said Batista is a dinosaur, and sooner or later they become extinct. Ziggler said he wants a match with Batista tonight. Batista said he wanted it, and he would get it. Ziggler drop kicked him and walked away. Well, the actual first match was Real Americans defeating Big E, Langston, and Mark Henry. Swagger and E started the match. Cesaro suplexed E. Unless Cesaro was on the top rope and he was outside the ropes. Cesaro went for the pin and Swagger came in. Cesaro was angry. Henry went for the wall saw the slam on Swagger, but Cesaro kicked Henry. Swagger went for the ankle lock on Henry, and Cesaro tagged himself in. Cesaro hits a neutralizer on Henry, drawing gas for the crowd for the win. Miss Piggy Guerrero and Alberto Del Rio were shown talking backstage. Del Rio said he's going to take the night off. In came Sheamus, who said he loves a good fight. Well, he's stealing Finley's line. He said, how about he and Del Rio fight, setting up the next match. Sheamus then defeated Alberto Del Rio by disqualification, as Sheamus had black athletic tape on his ribs. It was basically the same match between the two. Out came Christian in a suit. He went to the announcer's table. It was back and forth match, but nothing special. Sheamus had Del Rio in half crab. Then Christian came out in the suit. That distracted and hit Sheamus for the disqualification. Sheamus threw Christian out of the ring, then Bo kicked Del Rio and got kill switched by Christian. The Shield argued backstage. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose yelled at each other like children. Enter Seth Rollins for the save. He said, "Let's show Bray Wyatt when you provoke the hounds, you get the teeth." Match number 3. Batista defeated Dolph Ziggler in a squash match. Dolph with a fast offense to start. Batista got in the face of a fan wearing a clown wig. A boring chant started. Then a CM Punk chant, which the fan that did the report started. This was a slow match. There was a couple of spine busters in a row from Batista, who was generating serious heat by taunting the WWE Universe. Batista performed the Batista Bomb for the win. Bray Wyatt and family came out. Wyatt preached about how we buy fancy clothing to impress women. He said women don't even realize you're wearing the mask that society tells you to wear. Everything is a bag of lies. Bray is so amazing lie. Bray says he says and does everything the society is afraid to do. He then said he will slay this mighty dragon in reference to John Cena. Out came the Shield, and they get a stare down in the ring. Out came Triple H, who said this is enough. It has too much money and time involved in them. This Monday on Raw, the Wyatts will take on the Shield. He said that for the time being, the Shield should stand down. Well, Reigns and the Shield stepped into the ring, and only Bray stepped in. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins jumped on to Luke Harper and Eric Owen. Then quickly got back into the ring. Bray left and Seth was pumped. Bray backed the family up, and we get match number 4. AJ Lee defeated Cameron to retain the Divas Championship. AJ started fast offense. Cameron went on the offense, but was destroying AJ. Well, Tamina moved AJ out of the corner, and Cameron missed her and rammed her into the corner. Tamina got thrown out, but AJ won with a Black Widow. They recapped the Undertaker and Brock Lesnar segment confrontation from the end of Raw. And then the pre-show commentary team spoke about Taker's streak. Match number 5, Daniel Bryan and the USA Brothers defeated Kane and the New Age Outlaws. There were huge Borgasm Yes chants. Out came Corporate Kane. The Outlaws didn't do their whole saying, as the Usos and Bryan worked very well together. Kane looked so stupid in a wife beater and slacks and dress shoes. A you sold out chant began. Kane and the Outlaws huddled outside and talked strategy. The reporter was so impressed with the Usos, they can't see gold on them soon. I mean, I can't. You can see gold on them soon. A straightforward match early on, nothing special. Bryan tagged in and set a knee to Kane in the ropes. Kane got back into the match and stopped the Bryan come back. The Usos double kicked Kane and sent him out of the ring. Bryan has a running knee on Billy Gunn for the win. The match closed the show. No dark match, no return date announced. Afterwards, later in the evening, Daniel Bryan stopped for an unplanned autograph and picture session with the fans at a hotel after SmackDown tapings in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Bryan stayed for about 2 hours and made sure every fan got an autograph and picture with him. WWE fan at I'm a Milfo posted a picture of the line on Twitter, and I'll post a link here for that. And that thanks to .NET reader Christopher Wright for sending that in. Class act stuff by Bryan here in a way to connect with the fans. I'm sure he wanted the rest from a long TV day and start making his way home. But this is how the guy at the top of the WWE card is supposed to act if he wants to stay there. As Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan himself, and many others. That's a perfect way to act. Well, that concludes my video. Thanks again, and peace out.